Good morning. Today we're working on a 2012 Chevy Malibu with a 2.4 liter Ecotec. I bought this car in a bunch of a lot of five that came from the state. It was surplus. So, it's as is. Don't know why they decided to get rid of this one. It has about 165,000 miles. So, I've got this car sold to a friend for his daughter. The only problem is that misfire counter. Cylinder number 3 is trickling up, not setting codes, but it's sitting there just kind of trickling up. And so, the history kind of erases itself. It builds up. I've seen it go as high as like 20 to 30 misfires and then, clear itself back out. But it only does it when the engine is warm at idle. So I'm off idle, and these misfires will go away. Back down to idle, and you'll start to see cylinder 3 trip back up. Tickle back up. So, I did a compression test. The results were not great. Cylinder number 3 is lower by about 25 psi than the other cylinders. So we got 125 across the board except for cylinder number 3. What I suspect is going on here is I suspect the exhaust valve is burnt. Early failure of an exhaust valve that is burnt. I did a leak down test. After the leak down test was done, the results were not good. It was like, in the red on the gauge. Pretty serious leakage, and I can hear a little bit of air coming out the exhaust pipe. Not a lot. This car drives fine down the road. There's no major issues with it. It drives pretty good, actually. It's just a little bit of a rough idle. So I inspect all my cars really well before I sell them, especially when I'm giving it to a friend. And this car right here is not sellable. I have to fix this. This is a problem. So stay tuned. I'm going to tear this motor down, and I'm going to find a burnt exhaust valve, I believe. All right, well, I'm about halfway through this project here. Got the head pulled off the old Malibu, and wouldn't you know it, that's cylinder number 3. Got a little bit of water in there. Okay. That's the exhaust port. I need to check this on all of the cylinders, but I suspect they're all going to do something similar. Alright, I want to talk about what I found here. This is one of the exhaust valves out of cylinder number 3. You can see there's a fair amount of pitting on the face of the valve. However, I replaced all of the valves, so the intake and the exhaust, and I had water leaking still out of that port. Right now you can't quite see, but it's it's dry. So what I did to resolve that is I actually had to cut the seats true again. You can see if we can get that to focus. Cylinder number 2, it's got a little bit of water leaking. Cylinder number 1 has a fair amount of water leaking. So I'm gonna have to go through and touch up cylinders 1, 2, and 4. Now she's dry. No more leakage. No more leakage. Number 4. No more leakage. It's always a good thing when you stop leaking. We've got a fix here, folks. I just got back from a 22-mile test drive after getting the head back on, and my misfire counters look pretty good. Right off the bat, I had cylinders 2 and 4 just sitting there misfiring like crazy off idle. So I went ahead and did a crankshaft position relearn procedure, and that cleared that up pretty quick. I mean, those misfires went away almost immediately. This is totally different. Like this right now, this misfire counter for 3 is sitting there 0. Previously, after a long hot drive like this, as you saw earlier in the video,
this misfire counter was just trickling up. And I've been sitting here now for about 5 minutes after that hot test drive, and there's no misfires at all. So I'm going to call this a fix. I believe this vehicle is now ready to go. I'm going to check over my fluids one more time, and I'm going to make sure that I don't have any leaks or anything like that. Heat cycle it at least one more time, as I do with all cars before I release them after I do cooling system work. I like to heat cycle them, let them get hot and cold a few times just to make sure all the air bubbles are burped out. But anyway, thanks for watching. If you liked what you saw here, make sure you like, comment, and subscribe, and eventually I'll put out another video. Take care.